Hey Reddit, alternate account here, because I still don't want this tied to me. Some people still don't believe what happened that weekend. Honestly, I barely believed it myself. But if you're into urban exploration, horror, or stories that just don't make sense, then buckle up. This happened 3 months ago. I haven't been able to sleep properly since. I'm posting here because, I don't know, maybe someone's heard of the place, maybe someone can tell me what the hell we found. It was me, 24M, my girlfriend Jess, 23F, and our friends Mike, 25M, and Lily, 24F. We're all into urbex, exploring abandoned buildings, old factories, ghost towns, that kind of stuff. We don't vandalize or steal anything. We just like the atmosphere, the silence, and the history that lingers in the crumbling walls. Mike was the one who found the Elder Pines Asylum. It wasn't on any maps, not even the sketchy deep web forums we sometimes consult. He only found it by following a trail of dead web links from a 2008 geo-aching thread. Just coordinates and a cryptic comment. Don't go looking for 44. It looks back. Creepy, yeah, but exactly the kind of thing that gets us excited. So we planned a weekend trip to Maine, packed our gear, flashlights, batteries, walkies, first aid kit, and drove 6 hours into nowhere. The trailhead was unmarked. No signs, no paths. We hiked off trail through dense forest for almost 2 hours. Just as we were starting to wonder if we'd been tricked, we found it. Elder Pines Asylum. It was swallowed by the forest. 3 stories of rotting brick and shattered glass. Its windows, black and broken like empty eye sockets. Trees had burst through the pavement, vines snaked up the exterior. Part of the roof had caved in on the east wing. The place reeked of mildew and rust, but the front door stood wide open, like it was inviting us in. Inside, it was worse. It was colder, quieter. The silence was thick and unnatural, like it was pushing against our ears. Every step echoed forever. Jess said it felt like the building was listening. We found the main lobby. Paint peeled from the ceiling, long ago, in curling strips. Furniture was overturned and covered in mold. Old papers were scattered everywhere, most too decayed to read. But then we found the patient logs. They were in a rusted filing cabinet that somehow survived. Dozens of manila folders, most illegible, but one kept popping up. Patient 44. No full name, just the number 44. Notes describe him as nonverbal, resistant to treatment, and later prone to mimicking staff and patients. The last entry was dated December 4, 1967. Missing and presumed dead. That should have been enough for us to leave, but of course, it wasn't. Instead, Mike pulled out the walkies and said we should split up. Standard Urbex procedure to cover more ground. I didn't love the idea, but we'd done this before in old factories and tunnels. It was our thing. Jess and I took the east wing. Mike and Lily headed east. We synced our watches and agreed to regroup in 30 minutes. Our wing was creepy, sure, but mostly empty. Patient rooms with beds bolted to the floor. A rec room with board games fused to tables from years of moisture. One room had scratch marks on the walls that looked human. Jess pointed out that they were all clustered near the doorframe as if something had tried to claw their way out. At 23 minutes, our walkie crackled. It was Mike's voice. Guys, get over here. You have to see this. It's in the second floor, east wing. We headed over, but as we reached the staircase, we heard the footsteps upstairs. Not running, just walking. Slow, steady, and deliberate, like someone pacing. But here's the thing. The floor above us was supposed to be empty. Jess grabbed my arm and whispered, Mike has a limp, remember? She was right. He broke his ankle years ago and it never healed properly. He drags his left foot when he's tired. The footsteps above us were too even. We climbed the stairs anyway because we're idiots, I guess. The hallway was dim, lit only by dying sunlight coming through the cracked windows. The walls were covered in water-stained murals of smiling nurses and patients holding hands, twisted and childlike. At the far end of the tunnel, stood Lily, or at least it looked like Lily. Same build, same blonde braid, but she was standing unnaturally still, hands twitching at her sides, and she was smiling. Wide. Too wide. I called her name. No response. That's when Jess whispered, "She's wearing Mike's boots." She was right again. The thick brown hiking boots, one untied, the same pair Mike always wore. We backed away, slowly. That's when the figure cocked its head hard, like a puppet on a string, and started walking toward us. We ran, no shame, bolted down the stairs and into the lobby where Mike was pacing. Out of breath, his face pale. He'd been looking for Lily. She'd gone into one of the patient rooms upstairs and never came out. When he followed her in, the room was empty. No windows, no other door. She had just vanished. We told him what we saw. He swore it wasn't him on the walkie. He hadn't radioed us. We all wanted to leave, but we couldn't find the exit. I swear to God, the front door was gone. Just a blank, bricked up wall where we came in. The windows, too. Everything had changed. We spent the entire night barricaded in the old lobby, flashlights off to conserve battery. None of us slept. We kept hearing footsteps above us, sometimes whispering, sometimes laughing. Once, I heard someone call my name, in my own voice. By morning, the building looked different. It was smaller, older, and more sunken into the ground, like it had rotted further overnight. And the front door was back. We ran out, didn't even look back. We called the cops, the forest service, anyone who would listen. Search teams went in. They found nothing. No files, no rooms, no signs of Lily. They said the building had been abandoned since 1971 and was partially demolished in the 80s. As for patient 44, no record, no proof he ever existed. Mike doesn't talk anymore, he just sits. Sometimes he hums a tune I've never heard before. Jess has panic attacks if the lights flicker. And me? I've started seeing Lily in my dreams, or something that wears her face. Last night, I heard footsteps in the hallway outside my apartment. This morning, I found muddy footprints in my living room carpet. Hey everyone, first post, long time lurker. I need some advice or maybe a priest. I'm honestly not sure anymore. I got a new job last month, night security at a place called Belridge Center for the Mentally Unwell. Technically, it's been closed since 2005, but the county pays you to have it patrolled at night, so kids don't sneak in and drink beers on the roof or whatever. It's more liability protection than anything. At first, I was psyched. I mean, I'm getting paid $19 an hour to babysit an empty building? Sign me up. My buddy Greg got me the job, said it was creepy but chill, which basically describes me too, but Belridge isn't empty. Let me explain. First night on the shift, I was walking the third floor. The place is a classic horror show. Peeling wallpaper, flickering fluorescents, and those ancient metal beds that look like they were made to restrain Dracula. So I'm doing my rounds, listening to a true crime podcast. Bad idea. When I hear shuffling behind me, like hospital slippers on linoleum. I turned around, nothing. Figured it was just my imagination. Then I get to the end of the hallway, turn the corner, and there's a guy standing there, wearing a hospital gown, bald, smiling, just standing completely still in front of the water fountain like he's waiting his turn or something. I froze. Sir? The building's closed. He didn't move. I radioed Greg. He laughed and said, "Yeah, you met Harold." I asked what the hell that meant. He just said, "Don't make eye contact. Finish your rounds. If he's still in there in 10 minutes, he'll go away." He did. Just walked off. No sounds, no footsteps. Just wasn't there anymore. I should have quit, but rent exists. On night 3, I found a group of chairs arranged in a circle in one of the old therapy rooms, freshly moved. The dust patterns on the floor are broken, like someone was dragging them around minutes before I arrived. There's a single tape recorder on the middle chair. No tape, just a note on top. Session in progress. Do not disturb. Again, Greg laughs it off. To get bored. Who gets bored, Greg? On night 7, things escalated. I found writing on the wall in the West Wing.
You're not the first. You're not the last. You're not safe.
It was written backward, like in mirror writing, with some kind of dark red ink. I touched it, sticky and still wet. That same night, I passed the nursery ward, which I didn't know existed until then. It wasn't on my map. The door had been padlocked for years until it wasn't. Inside were cribs, all rocking slightly. No wind, no movement, just rocking, softly, like someone had just set them in motion. I backed out slowly, heard giggling behind me. I didn't look. Greg's response? Oh yeah, don't go in the nursery. They don't like visitors. On week 2, Greg stops responding. His voicemail changes. It now just plays muffled breathing and then cuts off. My pay stubs still go through, so I keep coming back. I don't know why, but it's like something wants me here. I stopped using the elevators because they never go where I tell them to. Once I pressed 2, and I ended up in a hallway full of mirrors. My reflection didn't move when I did. Now I take the stairs. I avoided the basement because it hums. Last night, I brought a friend, Tasha. She's a skeptic. Wanted to debunk my descent into madness. That's her phrase. We went in together at 11:04 p.m. By 11:12, she was gone. Vanished between the east stairwell and the hydrotherapy room. I turned around to show her the door where I carved "Get out" last week, and when I turned back, nothing. No footsteps, no scream, just her phone on the floor, still recording. The footage shows her running around and saying, "This isn't funny, dude." And then her face glitches. It's like it tries on someone else's face for a second, then static, then black. The phone battery was full when we came in. It died instantly. Today, I got my schedule emailed to me by someone named Dr. Kessler. His email signature says, Acting Director, Belridge Center for the Mentally Unwell. I looked him up. He died in 1989. I don't think I'm a security guard anymore. I think I'm a patient, or ghost, or food. Something knocks at the security office every night now, at exactly 3:03 a.m. Of course, I didn't answer. I just stare at the monitor. Camera 7 always goes fuzzy at 3:02. Then a new one turns on at camera 13 and shows me watching the monitor, even though that angle doesn't exist. I'm still here. I keep clocking in. I don't think I'm allowed to leave anymore. If anyone else sees this, please don't come looking for me. If you do, bring a mirror so I can remember what I look like. Hey Reddit, this might get buried, but I need to put this somewhere, even if no one believes me, especially if no one believes me. I've gone over this 100 times, trying to write it down, trying to make sense of it like it's just a story, but it's not. It happened, and it's still happening. My name's Andrew. I'm 24 now, but this all started when I was 14. During the summer, my sister vanished. Her name was Emily. She was 17, older, smarter, and infinitely braver than I've ever been. That summer, we were staying with her grandmother in a small town in upstate New York called Taro Hill. If you ever heard of it, it's probably because of a local ruin, Black Hollow State Hospital, the old asylum in the woods. Black Hollow was a monster of a place, even in the ruins. This massive red brick facility surrounded by chain link fence and barbed wire. The state shut it down in the early 70s after a fire and a series of mysterious patient deaths. Officially, they said asbestos, but the town always whispered darker things. Patients disappearing during the night, staff going insane, even something about a locked ward in the sub-basement that no one ever came out of. Urban legends and campfire stories. But Emily, she lived for that stuff. She carried around this thick, leather-bound red notebook full of blueprints, maps, handwritten interviews with locals. She was basically trying to reconstruct Black Hollow's forgotten history, and at some point, it became her obsession. She told me once, seriously, like dead serious, that she thought the building itself was alive, that it had intelligence, that it reminded her of things. Buildings like that, she said, they don't just rot, they wait. Then one night, she woke me up. It was 2:14 in the morning. I remember that exact time because I squinted at the green digital clock on my nightstand, annoyed. But Emily was already dressed, jeans, boots, backpack over one shoulder, and a flashlight in hand. "Come with me," she said. She was grinning. "I figured it out. The Hollow doesn't like the sun. We have to go at night." I told her she was insane, that she'd fall through the floor or get arrested. But she just knelt beside my bed and said softly, "Then cover for me. Okay? I'll be back before sunrise." And I never saw her again. They found her flashlight the next day, just inside the fence, still on, but no sign of her. The police searched the grounds for a week. Helicopters, dogs, volunteers combing the woods. Nothing. Not even footprints. They chalked it up to a runaway or a tragic accident. Slipped down a ravine or maybe got lost in the forest and fell into a crevice. My family tore ourselves apart with grief. My mom blamed my dad. My dad blamed Emily's obsession. My grandmother started locking her doors even during the day. We held the memorial, closed her room. Everyone tried to move on, but I couldn't, because about 6 months later, I started having the dreams. They always started the same way. I'm standing at the edge of the forest, just outside the fence. It's snowing, even though it's summer. I walk toward the gate. The chain link is gone. The barbed wire has curled into these strange spiraling shapes, almost like symbols. I step inside. The building's always different. The floor plan shifts. Sometimes the hallways stretched for miles. Sometimes the ceilings melt and drip like wax, but I always hear her. She calls my name. Not screaming, just softly, like a lullaby. "Andrew, down here." 10 years passed. I went to college, got a job, moved to Albany. I told myself I imagined those dreams, that grief does weird things to the brain. And then a month ago, I found a letter. It was just sitting in my apartment mailbox. No return address, no postage, just a red envelope with my name on it, handwritten in Emily's handwriting. I recognized it instantly. Inside was a single torn page from an old red notebook, the same notebook I watched my mom burn a week after the memorial. I swear to you, I watched the thing curl and blacken in the fireplace, but here it was. Same paper, same doodles in the margin, and her unmistakable handwriting. "It's not a building. It's a throat. It swallows you. It digests you slowly. Time doesn't work here. It's still 2013 inside. I haven't aged, but the walls have. They watch. The doctors never left. Not really. Neither did the others. I think they were made here, not admitted. Please don't come looking, no matter what you hear. Not even if it sounds like me. It won't be me anymore." There was a coffee stain on the bottom corner. I froze, because I remembered spilling coffee on her notebook the week before she disappeared. She got so mad and then laughed about it, called it an authentic blemish. It was the same stain, on the same page. I didn't sleep that night. I sat up, staring at the envelope. The paper still smelled like old basement, damp, musty, not smoke, not fire. Since then, I've started hearing footsteps in my hallway around 2:14 a.m. Not in the building, in my apartment, just pacing, and once a whisper outside my door. "Andrew." I looked through the peephole. No one was there. The next morning, there were muddy footprints in the hallway, leading from the front door to my bedroom, then stopping, like someone had come in but never left. Then 2 nights ago, I found something else sitting in my kitchen counter, a red notebook, Emily's notebook. I flipped it open to the last page. It was blank. except for one new line, scrawled in a trembling hand I didn't recognize. You opened the door. Now it remembers you too. I don't know what to do. I don't know if my sister is alive or if something is wearing her face like a mask. But I haven't slept in 3 days. The air in my apartment feels thick, like the asylum is pressing in from all sides, and tonight I hear something new, laughing. Low, guttural, something from inside my closet. I think the hollow is hungry again, and this time it knows my name.